Hello, hello friends. I am back with a delightful short story written by Gita Hariharan. Gita Hariharan was born in Coimbatore, but she studied at Manila, Bombay, and United States. For me, she is a delightful storyteller. To beat the corona blues, what can be better than listening to Gita Hariharan short story? So the short story which we are going to discuss now is Remains of the Feast. So this short story is about a Brahmin widow who challenges the society, the accepted norms at the age of 90. Ironically, she has a great granddaughter by name Ratna who is a medical student. So the great grandmother is a cancer patient, and the great granddaughter Ratna is a medical student who is studying anatomy. So all along, the old woman or the old Brahmin widow, whose name is Rukmini, she has been living a very pious life, not eating in hotels, not eating spicy foods, and she's strictly following the rules laid by the society. But at the age of 90, the doctor has diagnosed that she's suffering from throat cancer, and the doctor feels that it is in a very advanced stage and it doesn't require any treatment. The family members are shocked and they bring her back. And then there is a beautiful bond between the great grandmother and the granddaughter Ratna, who is a medical student. Even though the grandmother coaxes Ratna to tell her the truth, what the doctor has diagnosed, Ratna won't reveal anything to her great grandmother. But at the same time, Rukmini, who is a great grandmother, she decides that she will start eating all the spicy foods and the cakes made of eggs, and she will try everything which has not tasted so far. And she asks Ratna, her granddaughter, to smuggle these foods from the bazaar. Ratna is quite shocked at the cravings of her grandmother, but there is a pact between the grandmother and the granddaughter. Without the knowledge of her father and mother, Ratna smuggles all these foods which the grandmother demands. So one day, the great grandmother Rukmini, she asked for Coca-Cola. So even though it is very harmful, but still she says that I have to drink it. So Ratna, the granddaughter, and Ratna's mother, both of them, they think that they have to buy Coca-Cola for the old woman. So after that, she drinks Coca-Cola and it comes out through the nostrils. And day by day, the condition worsens. And later on, she is again hospitalized. And then she suffers a lot in the hospital, and finally she dies. And before dying, she will be groaning in her sleep that she wants to wear a red sari which has a broad border. So after the dead body is carried home, Ratna, the granddaughter, thinks that she has to fulfill the wishes, the last wish of the great grandmother. So she brings a red sari which she has bought for the previous year's Diwali, and she wants to cover the dead body with a new sari. But Ratna's mother stops her and tells her that she's not supposed to do like that. She cannot flung a new sari on a dead body. And then she asks her to bring one of the old saris of the great grandmother, and then they cover it. So before this, the body is given the last bath, and Ratna, who is a medical student and who is also studying anatomy, she watches the body of her grandmother and she wonders how the body is worn out, how it has become very smooth and wrinkled and also dry. So later on, Ratna will clear all her cupboard where the old lady had kept her saris, and then she will replace them with the new medical books. She thinks that all of a sudden her great grandmother has died, and it came as a blow. Even though the death was expected, it came as a shock. So that is why after some time, she will go to all those eateries where they were selling cakes filled with eggs, and then all the spicy things like pani puri and things like that, and she will treat herself with all this junk food. And Ratna, she will give herself diarrhea for a month. This shows her frustration over the sudden demise of her grandmother. To satisfy her grandmother's wishes, she smuggled the food, and she did all that she could do, for the old lady to be satisfied. So this shows that in her own way, Rukmini, the old lady, tried to break the shackles of patriarchy. All along, she had never tasted anything like that. She never asked for cakes made of eggs or Coca-Cola or anything like that. But all of a sudden, at the age of 90, she felt that she has to enjoy her share of fun. So this shows that, like how in her own way she resisted against the rules and regulations laid out by the society. So we have read umpteen number of Brahmin widows' stories written in Kannada. One of them I am reminded of Kraurya, written by the playwright T.N. Sitaram, where the old woman, the old Brahmin widow, is treated like a useless person, and nobody wants her, and everyone wants to disown the old lady. And finally, all the family members want to get rid of this Brahmin widow because she is useless, she is a burden. So, in order to get rid of this old lady, they try to send her away with a schoolboy who is studying in the city. So she will pack all her paraphernalia and goes with this schoolboy, and then he deserts her in a railway station because he also thinks that she's a burden and she is almost dying. So it is such a miserable state, where the boy abandons this Brahmin widow. And there is another story which was filmed by and the famous film director Prema Karanth has made a film on a Brahmin widow called as Paniyamma. Paniyamma was actually written by M.K. Indira, the famous novelist. So in the story, Paniyamma, she becomes a victim of child marriage. She becomes a widow at a very young age. And then, in spite of her deprivation, in spite of her fasting and all the rules laid down by the society, she transcends these limitations by helping out the women in village who are delivering babies. So she does midwifery. She acts as a midwife and she conducts many painless deliveries, and she helps these illiterate women. So this may be a kind of transcending the limitations. But still, we feel that she is conforming to the societal rules. Unlike Remains of the Feast, which is written by Gita Hariharan, where the Brahmin widow, she challenges patriarchy in her own way by trying all kind of junk food because she wants to enjoy life. So maybe Paniyamma was written in the 60s or 50s and Gita Hariharan has written in the 80s and 90s. So that makes a lot of difference. So there is more resistance in the 90s and there is less resistance, and those Brahmin widows had conformed to the societal views, how she has to live, how she has to dress. I think way back in 50s and 60s, randomly every 8 in 10 households used to have a Brahmin widow clad in a deep red, a maroon sari, and with a tonsured head, who would take care of all the household chores, forgetting that she is an individual, forgetting all her desires. They used to live for others. So they were totally self-effacing. And they accepted the status quo. And some of them, like Paniyamma, tried to transcend these limitations by being helpful to the society. So we may say that this is a positive attitude, but still it amounts to cruelty on the part of the people in society who never bothered about how they felt, how they suffered. So that is why I feel that Gita Hariharan is a very delightful, lovable short story writer. She is lovable and also she is elemental, to use a Lawrencian phrase. Lawrence uses the word elemental in the sense that one has to be straightforward, one has to be like fire, which burns everything, which is truthful. So I think Gita Hariharan is at once, she is lovable and also she is elemental. Thank you, friends.